Now, is this one of the manatees part of that collection or a different set?
Yes, yep, that's one of them. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. And the manatees are a big deal in Florida.
yeah, we like our sea cows.
I know they're so funky. Have you ever been up close to a manatee?
Yes, I'm a Crystal River, and also in Dunedin. Sometimes at the pier you can see them.
Oh wow. I know I've seen a manatee in the wild, but I can't really even remember the context. So many years spent in Florida, and um, during those formative years where the memory doesn't stick.
Oh yeah.
For multiple reasons. All right. Wish I could remember those college days. Okay, so for example, so now this one is. So is this actually real brick? Is this part of the
This is an
painting?
interesting one. The brick there, I matched their fireplace on the left side, which you don't see, and the arch is the shape of the frame. For want of another word, is mimics the shape of the either the windows or the arches in the house. Some one of those things. And then one on the beach, and you can see the one that she liked the conch shell, and she wanted two glasses of wine up there because I think she drank red and her husband drank white or something like that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
And the flip flops. I see flip flops.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that actually is made to look like it's just the house itself, like a complete illusion.
Like you're looking through the house itself, and there's three or four of those openings.
What do your clients say to you when you finish something like this?
Here's your check. No. um, well, I work with them, and I always like, if you don't like something, tell me if we can add something. I always like them. I definitely like them to be involved, and they're the ones who are going to be living with it.
That's right.
And if
And
something's not right, I'll just keep on working on it until they're happy.
yeah, I mean, I know for me, if these, like the brick and the arched windows and all that stuff, if that was part of my, the architecture of my home, and then that was continued into a painting that made it look like we were now looking at the ocean. I mean, that's that's the kind of stuff I used to dream about when I was little. I remember I used to have this fantasy of a house where it was a nice house. You would go inside and it would be kind of like the house I grew up in, I guess. But then when you would go downstairs into like the basement or whatever other floor, like the special floor, right? That special floor would be completely like imagination and not necessarily like psychedelic and crazy and like, oh, I can't look at it, it's too weird. But just this kind of, complete, through paint mostly, and even like through some architectural elements, maybe, right? Just creating this complete work of imagination. And this is exactly the kind of thing that would be in my Imaginarium house. So
Uh-huh.
this kind of just makes me think about that, and man, it makes me want to build that now, Steve. I have to get to that.
Okay.
That's going to be my next major life project. Well, it got bigger. That was the wrong
Oh,
button.
there we go.
Hey, now I know how to make the pictures bigger so people can see them. That's perfect at the very end. Okay, so whatever. So here we go with that kind of similar Florida scene, but on a really big scale in
Right.
a bedroom.
Right. That's a big, queen size bedroom, and she had the that wallpaper mural in the bathroom with the big palm leaves.
Hmm.
So that was in the bathroom, and this is in her bedroom.
Love it.
She had me working there for a long time.
That's a nice thing, isn't it? When you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to that place and I don't have to think about it. I
Hmm.
just got to go do the thing. It's always nice.
Right. It was in town, and yeah, I like working like that.
So, just on a practical standpoint here, is there any kind of finish that you put on after the painting to make sure that people don't scratch the heck out of it with
You
their
got
furniture?
polyurethane on top of it.
You do. Okay. So what? So I know polyurethane has a tendency to yellow sometimes. Do you have a special?
Not anymore. I just see there's a wonderful maker, and it'll come to me, Modern Masters, and it doesn't yellow.
Oh, Modern
And it comes in
Masters.
different sheens. It comes in sort of a matte, and then, well, the lions that I was talking about are the Foo Lion dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I used a really high gloss polyurethane, the man that's made for interior or exterior.
Right. And did you? How many coats did you apply to that? The food
Two,
dogs. Two.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
then something like this, would you apply two coats?
Just one, because the paint itself is pretty durable.
Right.
So, and I use, lots of times in big areas, regular wall paint, and I use the best that you can buy. So,
Mm-hmm.
even the wall paint. I mean, I take that back. Lots of times I don't put on polyurethane because if I use mostly the wall paint that you would use, that's going to last as long as the wall paint does. So there.
Oh, okay, right on. And so, just out of curiosity, what do you have a brand preference on that wall paint? What do you feel is the best?
I am a Sherwin Williams fan right now. They have, I mean, anymore, a lot of the paints have gotten bigger, but I like the way I'm treated there, and they give me, a good rate. So they're my new best friends. I've been
Awesome.
using them for a few years now.
Yeah, and they've been in the business since what, like the early 1900s or something like that.
Probably, yeah.
Ask Sherwin Williams. Okay, here we go. This is a really neat way to see this too.
Yeah, that's the whole. And actually, on the right is an actual painting. Probably the print. No, I sold the paint. So that's a print, a Giclée print that I
Okay.
did earlier. And that's what it was. See how when I was looking at it, and she wanted something to the right of the couch.
Hmm.
And I said, I have a painting that I can make a print of to see how the palm fronds continue from
Oh
the painting that I did
yes.
before and into there.
Oh, and even the foliage here too kind of
Yeah,
sort of does that.
it just made me tingle.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, it's too bad the water line didn't match, but part of it did.
Yeah, whatever. It is that is beautiful, and in a way, it's kind of cool that it didn't, because it does still create this illusion, but it's a separate piece. I mean, it kind of plays with your brain a little bit as you look
Mm.
at it, and the colors are like, I mean, at least in this photograph, they look like they match like almost identically, right?
Well, I like to use, realistic type painting. And most of these are like, Bahama type, even more southern than Florida, more tropical. That's the word I was looking for.
Right. Oh, this is so cool, man. And this is perfect for a Florida home. I mean, this is great. Love, 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 love. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll take that out if I can. Come on, Zoom, work with me. We'll just bing over here then. Okay, so that is a pretty impressive scope of a lot of, well, a lot of nature stuff, but also a lot of non-nature stuff. Is so that we haven't really talked about the cars though. So let's go take a peek at some of these cars. And I believe I've got that here. Okay, so here we are. We're working towards the cars, people. I promise we're going to get
Okay.
the cars. So tell me just a little bit about this photo because it's
Well,
cute.
this girl, she didn't want oranges on her house. She wanted me to paint limes on her mailbox.
Okay.
So she will go over and take a picture. I said, I'm not going to, no, I'm fine. So I just opened up the mailbox and just gave a stupid looking expression.
And I'm sure she appreciated it. It's actually a really
Yeah.
cute photo. I approve. All right, so here we go. Let's scoot over here. So here we go. Now this is right off the bat. If you're not looking carefully, you would be forgiven for thinking that this was a car parked, in a parking lot. But if you look closely, you can tell. No, we're in an art studio here, apparently.
Yeah, that's the floor that I had. Yeah.
Yep. How did you get so
I,
much paint on your floor?
well, actually, someone purposely put all those drips on me before I moved. Another artist had it, and I just added to it. So this commission was one of the best commissions I've ever had because, like I've said before, I'm just crazy about old cars, especially the obscene ones of the '50s. I mean, the fins and the chrome, and they're just wonderful. And he has like 20 some automobiles. He lives up in Virginia, and he has 4 garages, and one was new, and he wanted some artwork in there. He wanted me to paint a mural. So I flew up there to check it out, and I said, "There's no room for a mural because all these cars are here. You're not going to see the mural if all these cars are in the way." And I really wanted to do something for him. I go, "Wait a minute here. Why don't we just paint individual paintings above the lines of the cars, and then it'll be like a gallery of old cars." And he fell for it. So, and the wonderful thing was, I didn't have to stay there and work out of town painting the wall itself. I just did these in my studio. So when they were all painted, my mutual friends of mine hauled them on up there and installed them, and it was
It's
a wonderful experience. And this happens to be a '57 Plymouth, and he said, and he didn't even tell me what kind of cars. He did. I just want cars of the '50s, and I decided to zoom in on the corners of them. So we have a corner of an old car,
it's
and I just love painting chrome.
well, yeah, that's what I wanted to mention. So the chrome. Tell me about the process of painting chrome.
Well, it's just like a landscape. It's just distorted because when you see all the chrome, most of the cars that I paint, you have the ground, and then there's the sky, and lots of times there's a tree line. So it's just That's what's that's what you see in chrome. It's reflecting whatever it's sitting next to. And with all, of course, the lights are a lot brighter than what you see in real life. But I kind of I got the chrome thing down, I think.
I think so, and that the warping of it is just so it's so it feels like a photograph or something that I'm looking at in real life. And so is that kind of is there a like a science or math behind that, or is that a feel thing?
A little bit. I mean, I just paint what I see. You just have to look exactly what are you seeing here, and then reproduce that.
Right. Yeah.
Let's
No.
look at it.
And it's all about those lines and things, right? Do
Right.
you start with the darker colors there and then do the lighter,
Yes,
or
definitely. Yep, yep, yep. But the darks are always first, and then gradually get lighter.
okay.
Now with these, I think I painted all the chrome first. Usually I wait to do the fun stuff last, but I painted all the chrome first and then the colors of the car.
It must have almost felt easier that way. But then you look at the headlight and you're like, oh my
That was,
goodness.
well, again, you just had to look at it and break it down. All these facets. Okay, there's these rows of whatever, and yeah, the headlights, they were a little bit challenging, and I just had to tell myself, okay, what exactly? Just break it down into parts.
Did you
What do
ever
you
like
see?
panic when you're looking at something like that you have to reproduce at
No,
such
because I'll
a
know I'll get it. I just if it takes a while, so what? I like to paint, so.
right. That's a good attitude. I need to nurture that. Because
And
really, I
also,
look.
I like that. I mean, not that I do it for people to say, "Wow, that's really cool," but that's kind of what got me going. Is as a young kid, my parents, well, wow, they really like when I draw. I get recognition for that.
Yeah,
So, and everything, I think everybody does with whatever they do.
truly, and it helps keep you going, especially in times that are that might be challenging for whatever reason too, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
as an artist, I mean, we are creating things for other people's consumption.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
that
I
is,
look at, and this is what I do for a living. So, I want to make them happy.
yeah, no, it's so cool. I mean, I could just freak out about that headlight forever. And the thing about it that too that's so so ironic in a way is that a headlight is kind of a mundane thing,
All right.
right? But here it's like look at all the detail, and that's what they look like. If you look at a headlight, you realize for a minute you're like, wow, there's a lot going on there with all the light reflecting and the
Hmm.
metal inside there. It's like a mirror and all these different angles, and it's funny that something so ordinary that we take for granted could actually you see like all this amazing beauty in it as soon as someone paints it or maybe
Right.
takes
Thank
a great photo. But we're not talking about
you.
photographers today.
Yeah.
So what's on the dashboard here? Is that a cap?
Oh, that's a little ornament. It had, a hood. There's a hood ornament.
Oh, it's a hood. Okay, it's not on the
Yeah,
dashboard. It's in front of it. Okay, I got you.
yeah. It's on top of the headlights.
I got you. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. This is. I mean, it looks. It's so crazy, man. I love like the shadow off this like little raised piece, and oh wow, nuts. It's beautiful. All right, let's see what's
And that's
next.
where with cars, that's when the V became an element of style because pushing the V8s and power and all that sort of thing. So I mean, with old cars of the '50s, you always see the V emblem or a check mark or something as part of the design.
Right, and what a different way to work with aerodynamics back in the day. So this actually reminds me, and I'm gonna bring that up. Maybe we'll switch pictures in a second. Did you actually go to Cuba with the Dunedin Fine Arts Center when they
Yes, I
went?
did.
I
Yeah.
thought you did. Okay, as I asked Ray, and but I thought you did. So lots of old cars there, right?
Yes, but nothing that looked like this. I mean,
No.
they're Frankensteins there. I mean, they just put whatever they can. I mean, bless them. They had to be very, very resourceful.
Yeah.
So these cars are painted with rollers and just crazy colors and whatever they can, get to keep them running. And they're belching things, and most of them don't have. I mean, there may be one taillight that works. Most of the cars do not have wipers that work, so they have to use the rain axe. So when it rains, it
Wow.
kind of rolls off the. And it was a sight to see, and
I
just
bet.
I respected the resourcefulness, if that's a word.
Yeah. I think that is the word. Right on. Okay, cool. We got to talk about that. Good. Check that off my list. And so here's, is this the same commission?
Yes, those are copies that I have in my studio, and they're just a sample of there. I can't remember now how many were there. There were 13, maybe.
13 total
I think there were
paintings?
13. I'm sorry.
13 total paintings
Yes, yeah,
in that garage eventually?
right.
Wow. How,
Encompassing two walls.
so are these then, this is something that you have in your studio, you said, right?
Yes, and they are for sale.
Oh, right on. I can imagine. Just to get in a concept, on the previous picture we were looking at, about how long did that take you to paint?
Over a week. I mean, we're talking about full days, but I think if there were full days of every week, I probably could did one in 1 week, but probably that many hours, 40 hours, 40, 50 hours each.
In each painting?
Hmm.
Wow, that is awesome. He must be so happy to have such incredible art in
Oh,
his
I'm
garage.
very, very proud of those.
Yeah, no, I'm proud of them. Now I feel like I've seen this one somewhere. Maybe I'm
Possibly.
wrong.
It was for a commission for a fellow neighbor of mine who lives here in Dunedin, and that's his boat. And someone took a photograph of it, and he gave me the photograph, and he said, "I want a painting of this." So that's what I did.
That's what you did. That's gorgeous.
So
When,
it was taken early in the morning.
so you mentioned that you just paint what you see, right? And you
Hmm.
just play with it until it looks like the thing you're looking at. Is
Correct.
there I've read a couple books. And one thing that in some of these art books they talk about perspective, and foreshortening and things like that. And they're
Right.
always like, they're like, so what you have to do is you have to imagine this matrix. It's like this three-dimensional grid that shoots out from a vanishing point, and you have like all these lines and everything. Do you have that going on in your brain, or is your process simpler?
That was a good part of training, I think. But I think innately I just think that way. Like things get smaller.
Right. I think I've noticed for myself in my art that because I was always kind of rebellious. I did cartoons and stuff for a long time, and even when I was in bands, I would do like cartoons of our bands and stuff like that. And I never really got crazy about perspective and foreshortening and trying to make things look three-dimensional in that sense. And part of it might have been I just might have felt kind of intimidated by that whole process or whatever. But lately, the more that like the more photographs I've taken with my cell phone, for example, I'm starting to notice, and maybe if I just took them with a regular camera, it'd be the same thing, right? But I'm starting to really notice and see the foreshortening in those pictures that I take, and how, like, when I try to take a picture of something in real life, how it doesn't always transfer the same way. Especially like, we've been doing a lot of hikes out here in Washington State, and so you're like, I'm at Mount Rainier, and I took this amazing picture of this gorgeous, gigantic mountain, and it looks cool in the picture, but man, it is so not what you see in real life.
Right.
But being able to kind of take all these photos, and especially like selfies and stuff, right? Because you can really tell in a selfie, you're like holding up your thing, and there's like,
Hmm.
like that's kind of given me this sense of like, hey, I could start incorporating that into my work. And when I've done that in some of my, personal sketches and drawings, wow, it really makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Sure. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, even when you're not trying to paint something that's like a photo, it just really adds something to that. So I was curious about that. And so, more or less, like you said, during training, you were very aware of that kind of vanishing point thing, but that's not something you like map out when you start a new painting so much anymore.
Well, it depends on what it is, how complicated it is, to get the perspective. It
Hmm.
is sometimes it is very more mechanical than drawing. Letting it loose. So you have to get the basics in there. It's work sometimes. Damn it.
Right. I know, right? That's why it's your job, right? That's so cool. All right. And so here's some cornhole.
Yes, I got more of a response from this than anything I've ever done. I think.
That's bizarre.
But there's complementary colors. When you put the opposite colors on the spectrum, it just really screams at you.
It
And
does.
soon after I painted the oranges years ago, I discovered, with this turquoisey type of light blue, it just looks great with oranges. So that was a fun project.
Yeah. How much does it cost to have Steve Spathelf make you a couple cornhole boards?
That was well. He already. I think it was. Gave him a break. It sounds like a lot was 600 for that for both of them, but they
Wow.
put them together.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. That would be something to
That was a
have for
very fair
sure.
price.
Oh, very fair. Yeah. No, that's so cool. Ah, my son loves cornhole. So, all right, let's see.
Did you show him this? You showed him this picture.
I need to. No, I haven't. We're not in the same dwelling at the moment, but I need to. I'm going to make him watch this interview. Make
This
him. I'm going to
is
hold it.
crazy. I want a print of this. I keep on forgetting about it. I want to have a photo. I mean, it's a photo, of course, but I want a print of it. I want a big one because I just think this photograph is just crazy. I was painting a door. Someone's mobile home. They were here. They live here part time, and of course, I put my beat up drop cloth on the step, and then and I didn't even know he took it. And I think the next day he sent it to me on my phone, and wow, it just a lot going on there.
There's a lot going on there, and it encapsulates and captures you and what you do, and this is yeah, it's fantastic. And what a great angle.
Yeah, I didn't even know he was. I mean, he was standing there. We were talking. I had no. He just must have put the phone over. I don't know how he did it, but
I
he
was
got
imagining
me.
he was outside a window, like looking down, like trying not to fall out.
No, he was outside.
Ah!
And that it's in my elbow. That round thing there. That's a pot lid that I used to paint on the oranges. The one like a
Oh,
12-inch. And that's the original pot lid that I used when we started painting oranges, 12 years ago.
so is
So that
that you like put that up and then like do like a pencil
yes,
drawing
yes,
around it?
yes. It's a tool. And I have all these different shaped things for circles because we all can draw a circle, but I like mine perfect. So it saves time to have a template.
It saves so much time, and especially when you're doing big things like this. I mean, saving time is a really important part of your work, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. I mean, time is money. If I have to, draw one by hand, it's going to cost more, and plus it's perfect. It's not cheating. It's taking advantage of tools.
Exactly, exactly. What
That's my
is
answer, and I'm sticking to it.
yeah, it's worked for me so far.
Yeah.
What what maybe is your most valuable tool in your toolbox in terms of that time saving?
Quality brushes and good paint. But
Mm,
as far as that's about it. I don't, I have a box with all my orange stuff in it. There's not much in there but the paint and the brushes. And and these see these little containers that for the paint.
hmm
That is a Talente. You ever have that Talente gelato?
No,
I'll make commercials for that stuff. I tell people I throw it down the drain, but no, no, no. They have the best
down the
containers.
drain.
I mean, they're very durable. They have nice lids, and so rather than haul out the quarts of paint, you have these smaller things that travel better.
Right, and then you're not always opening your giant thing,
Right, you
and
just screw the lid back
that's cool. What do you have a certain kind of brand of brushes that you use?
on.
What's a high quality brush?
Not, it's so hard because there's no real good art stores around town anymore. So, and they don't last forever. And plus, I'm working outside, and as much as I, clean them and everything, they don't last all of that long. So I don't buy the really, really good brushes unless I'm doing a painting. Not that my oranges don't deserve good quality stuff, but everything's nice when you first buy it. So,
It is, yeah,
yeah.
cool. So how frequently are you tearing when you're working fairly like for example on those cars? You said you put 40 hours in on that one painting. Did you use the same brushes for the whole car, or did you have to switch brushes out?
I don't remember, but I know I bought the best brushes I could for that. I was taking care of them.
Hmm.
In answer to your question, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go.
No, but as long as you clean them out, when wash them out, and they should last a while.
Yeah, just
What
curious.
wears them out is painting outside because of the texture of walls.
Right.
I'll tear them up.
Oh, that makes sense. Like all that bumpy, kind of stucco-y
Sure.
kind of
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think there's another one here that we want to look at. Yeah, here we go.
Ed Sol. I have a print of this in my bedroom above my bed. I just had an extra one and it looked good up there. So, and you can't tell in this, but see that black All right,
Yeah, this
the
guy here.
middle. That's yes. That there's an actual grid in there,
Oh.
but it's very, very dark. You can't tell by the photograph. I think maybe
I
if you
can
look
see it
real
if I look
close.
close. Yes, I can. Oh my god. And in each side of each grid is a little person now.
I could have cheated, just left it black. That no, what's there? I'm gonna
And that's the kind of stuff that just flips people out when they're looking at it in person, and they don't notice it at first, right? And then they're
paint it.
looking a little bit more and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like what else is hiding in here?"
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice it either until it was, yeah, look at the photograph as a painting. I thought, wait a minute, there's a grid back there too. I mean, they want to make it look like it was floating, obviously, but you have something to
To float it
stick it
on.
to. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's really cool. Woohoo! All right, I believe that there might be one more photo, or that might be you painting with a customer. Let's see. Nope, here we go. Okay, so this wall, this is facing alternate 19.
It is on alternate 19 is Edgewater Park on the water side, and that is a work in progress. I haven't been there for a little while, but we'll get to it. It's about halfway finished, and sometimes things take a while.
Right. And sometimes there isn't like a hard and fast deadline. Is that right?
Correct. I mean, the person who's funding this is a private person, so it's just take a while. Like, all right, I have a budget now, and you get what you can do, and then we'll wait. So I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah,
It'll be finished one day.
that's
But the
awesome.
sun is brutal on that wall. It faces the south, and it just shines on it all day long. So I had to make sure I use the good quality paint and coats of polyurethane. And even then, it's just starting to fade a little bit. So I have to fix that somehow.
I guess it's almost job security in a way.
Well, yeah, but in a way.
In a way. So
But that's a
has
brand new wall, and the wall started shifting, and I had to repaint some things. And well, that's just the nature of the beast painting outside. Things happen.
right. That's awesome. All right. Well, I think that is that. Now, if we were to look, no, this is going into your posts. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let's bring it back to us in person here. I love that photo. I'm glad that someone actually got that of you. That's really cute. Um, is there anything that any knowledge you would like to impart on people that are beginning their journey or partway through their journey in painting and art, and maybe they're inspired by your style and what you do?
Did I say the line "figured it out for yourself"? Damn it, I had to.
Yeah, you did.
No, no,
Beat
I
it,
love
kid.
sharing. No, I'm kidding. I love sharing my ideas and things, but I just can't. Well, do what you love, because just there's a passion. I'm very, very fortunate in doing something that I love, and that's about. I just feel very, very incredibly lucky. But it took me a long time to figure it out too. And styles change. Like I was thought I'd be painting in houses forever, but that for some reason someone said, "Oh, that's not stylish anymore. No one has murals on their walls." Who said that?
Right. They haven't met me.
But I still find things to. I still find things to paint on. And like I was talking about these wacky commissions that I've had, Santa Claus and the Foo Dogs, and people always need something painted.
Yeah, no, it's true. And a lot of your work, I mean, it leads to other work, doesn't it? Because someone sees
Yes,
something that you have out in the world and they're like, oh my goodness, who did that? And then they find
right.
you. And
And many times with the painting the oranges, people say, "Well, I like something painted out by my pool." So a lot of beach scenes are painted out besides people's pools now, and a kid's room or two, and so yeah, things are all right. The
it's
oranges have
awesome.
been very good to me. I keep on saying that, but they have.
It's amazing. And we don't have to go into the story. I know you've told it a bazillion times, but when did you have that aha moment about like, I'm going to paint oranges? That's the thing I'm going to do and put them out there. Like, what was it?
Well, it was not planned. I wanted to paint murals of the orange crate ladies because Dunedin have several, and they're fun and funky, and I just think they're wonderful. And I thought, well, this is during a slow time.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it can be the Orange Crate City, you know, because Dunedin has it. Like they could just said, Dunedin has their own. We just paint the Orange Crate labels all over town. And people come from miles around to see the Orange Crate labels, but it just didn't work out that way. They like the silly oranges that I painted in the middle of the night. So, all right, it's quicker and easier.
But when you decided to do that in the middle of the night, that's what it came from, your love of the orange crate labels, and it just like
Right,
a simpler way of doing it fast.
right, exactly. I didn't have time in the middle of the night to meet my buddy Marcia. And then we're just going to have an assembly line to paint oranges, and then explain why we did this. And so there is one Orange Crate label in town outside of Rosie's that we painted. And
Yes.
we started a foundation for this for public art, the oranges through the Chamber of Commerce, and this led on to good things. Other art public artworks that someone else did. There's a couple of towers, glass towers at the entrance to Douglas from Skinner,
Hmm.
and that was paid for the foundation that we started, as well as city funds to fund that.
The Rosie mural, I've had enjoyed many beverages in front of that over the years, and that is one of your bigger pieces, isn't it?
The one in town, yeah.
Yeah, the big one on
Yep.
the side of
Yeah.
Rosie's.
Well, actually, the biggest one is probably the floor, the one we showed at the beginning of this, of the greetings from Dunedin.
Oh, okay. And
That's like 30
what
by
size?
15. I didn't believe that's 30 by 15 thereabouts.
Yeah, that's cool. So before we sign off, what's in the future for Steve?
There's always oranges to be painted, and I have well, friends of mine now, but I did their house over in Harbor Island, and they sold it, and they moved to another part of Tampa, and I painted like every single square inch of the house, you know, just paintings all over and faux finishes, and she wants to do a lot of the same thing in the new house, so that'll keep me busy for a while.
That's awesome. All
Mhm.
right. Well, cool. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining us today. And everyone that's watching this, don't forget to like and subscribe and share and comment and all that stuff. Help us spread the word. And yeah, I mean, your work is very inspiring, and you're an awesome person. I'm so glad that we know each other, and I look forward to seeing what you do in the coming days, months, weeks, and years.
Well, thanks, Ice. Thanks for asking me to join you here. This has been fun.
Awesome. Awesome,
And
man.
good luck with your endeavors here. This is a good thing you've started.
Well, I thank you. Yeah, my hope is to create this, kind of a community of artists that are aware of each other, and then also to bring that to as many people that are interested in art, right? Like all over the
Sure.
country and the world, and you know, and so it is. It's exciting, and I appreciate your support.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right, my man. Well, have a wonderful afternoon, and thank you again for watching, everybody. Share this video. All right, take care, y'all.